Adele, we've all done athletics at school, haven't we? And then for the vast majority of us, once we depart education, we forget all about it. But for you, you didn't. At what age did you think to yourself, this is something that I want to pursue further?
When I was 16 years old, I qualified for my first World Youth Championships, and I got a real taste of what it would be like to be a professional sports person. And honestly, the taste of success and like pride of wearing my vest, representing my country, it was so addictive. And I thought, this is what I want, this is what I want to do.
And what are some of your earliest memories when you were at school?
When I was at school, you know, I didn't have amazing facilities. We had about 20 metres of a grass pitch, which was dead and dry, and it was not, you know, top of the range stuff. But I've always been brought up with work with what you've got, make no excuses, there will always be a way. And growing up, I was always taught to believe in myself, and that was the major thing. And a lot of this game is mindset. A lot of it is, okay, how bad do you want it, and what are you willing to do to get there?
And you joined Birchfield Harriers, which of course is in the Birmingham area, from Welshpool, where you live still. That's quite a journey. I think it's important to recognise at this stage the role that the Welshpool taxi, aka Dad, had in all of that. Tuesdays after school, Thursdays after school, Sunday mornings. That's quite a commitment from your parents. Yeah, huge. And I couldn't thank them enough. Everything I do is, you know, to repay them. When I compete now, when I succeed now, I am doing it to show them that everything they did for me was worth it, and we as a family are in this whole journey together. I started off at Oswestry Olympians, which was my local club, and you know, that was quite a commitment still, like half an hour every Tuesday, Thursday, maybe another day of the week. But when I then joined the Premiership club of Birchfield Harriers, that's an hour and 15 minutes one way. We were spending more time in the car than we were actually training, and that was 3 times a week. And Dad sacrificed days of work. You know, he's self-employed. He sacrificed days of work. He sacrificed income to support my journey. And we don't come from a family where there's a silver spoon in your mouth. They have worked for everything they've got, and they have instilled that into me. So without them, there is no way I'd be sat here with the rings on my chest today. And all those years that you've been at Birchfield, how important and valuable has it been in terms of your own development?
So I think that it was a natural progression. I started off grassroots in primary school. I think teachers are extremely key in schools. So my teacher was actually encouraging me to get involved in an athletics club. So she put me into Oswestry Olympians. And then from there, my parents then took me around to competitions all around the UK. And then I got spotted by a coach that was part of Birchfield. So it was for me quite a smooth transition. When I got into Birchfield Harriers, I was then competing against girls all over the UK who were much better than me, and that's exactly what you need at a young age. You need to learn to lose, because this game is not all about winning. It's many, many losses for the wins that then matter so much to you. And I think from the age of 15, I was a multi-eventer from 9 to 15, but 15 I knew if I wanted to make it, I needed to pick my best event, because I was a good multi-eventer. Nationally I was good, but I wanted to be on the world stage, and that meant me specialising in the throws events. So from 15 then, specialised in the throws events, and had an amazing junior career. Went to European Junior Championships, went to World Youth Championships, went to European Under-23s where I won the bronze medal in 2017. But the reality of it is then, I got an injury in 2017 after that medal, and for 4 years I didn't really do that much, and the progress wasn't as amazing as it had been the years prior to that. But that sport, there is stagnant years, there is a few steps backwards, and I think that you see a lot of dropout rates because people don't know how to deal with that, and that's what then separates the elite from non-elite. Who can actually withstand those adversities, who can get over them, who can get back up every single day when they're not really reaping the rewards that the work is being put in for. And I think that, it all comes down to what's inside and have you got the heart for it. And sport is massively, massively a mindset and heart game.
And as you've said there, it's not just about the physical attributes and the physical strength, it's about the emotional, the inner strength that you have. Were there times, particularly during those 4 years of injury, when you perhaps thought about giving up?
Yeah, and I think that most athletes, I could safely say, especially from the ones that I know, and most of my friends are athletes, so from my experience, yes, there's definitely been times where I've questioned whether I can continue, and it's just so emotionally draining. You invest your heart and soul into it, and then when time after time you are not getting the results, you're not getting the results that reflect the work that's being done, that's the hardest thing. You have to then just keep faith in it. But to be honest with you, I question whether I want to do it, and then immediately get myself back out of that and think, yeah, what are you doing? Of course you want to do this. This isn't you. Like, I'm not a quitter. I can moan, I can have a little like cry now and again, but I'm not a quitter. That is one thing I'm not. So I know, and I think when it's so deeply set, when you know and you're so sure that you're in it and you're committed to it, there's no question about whether you're going to quit. You can have times where you don't enjoy it. You can have times where you question whether you even like it. But as long as you know that you're not going to give up regardless, like you're pretty safe.
I think you've given some great advice there to younger athletes who are perhaps considering a career themselves or pursuing that particular path themselves. But if there was one word of advice that you would give, a definitive word, what would it be?
Something that I do love to kind of remind myself is that as long as the fire that burns inside of you is stronger than the fire burning around you, when it all seems like it's coming, burning, crashing down, you'll be fine. And you just need to remember that every other bad day you've ever had before, you've gotten through. So today's bad day is no different. And don't allow one bad day to give you a bad week or a bad month or a bad year.
And I guess that's the ethos that drives you on, not only when you're at Birchfield Harriers, but those cold, dark winter nights, pounding the streets of Welshpool. That's what drives you on.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, after the few years where I had a bit of a stagnant phase in athletics, I needed something new. And, you know, I wasn't just sat down waiting for something miraculous to happen and change to happen. If you want different outcomes, you have to do something different in order to get those outcomes. I then tried bobsleigh. Got into bobsleigh, absolutely loved it, had to lose 2.5 stone to race, that was massive, and part of that process was during lockdown, and there was nowhere to train. I was running in Tesco's car park in the freezing cold winter just because I had this slight glimpse of a dream of going to an Olympic Games, and it was a brand new challenge, and I knew that physically I suited the sport of bobsleigh. It was all about power, so I thought, okay, if I can drop this weight and learn this skill, I've got a real chance of making this Olympic Games here. And it's new, it's exciting. So I was like really looking forward to it. So yeah, I did what I had to do. If I was running in Tesco car park at 10 o'clock at night in the rain in Welshpool, that's what I was doing. And 18 months on from that, I was at the Olympic Games. And that was because I was putting nothing short of 100% in every single day. And that's because when you want it that bad, when you want to succeed that badly, when you wake up, training isn't a question. Putting in the extra few minutes to stretch isn't a question. Nutrition isn't a question. Like all of the things that surround your goal, then you are so goal orientated every single day of your life that nothing else matters.
That's quite a leap from shot put to bobsleigh. We all know the power of the internet and social media in general. In your case, it was Instagram that got you into bobsleigh. Do you want to tell us that story?
Yeah, so as a shot putter, you know, from the outside, I think shot put and bobsleigh look so dissimilar from the outside, but really the factors that underpin them are very similar. It's strength and speed. You have to be a power athlete to do shot put. You have to be a power athlete to do bobsleigh. So what happened was the pilot of the elite women's team at the time saw some of my training videos on Instagram, and she messaged me and she was like, "You look powerful, come and give this a go." I said, "Tell me more about it and I'll consider it." She told me some more about it. I was having a bit of a downtime in athletics. I needed something, I needed a spark. I needed the spark to light the fire inside me again because it was just dull at that point. I hadn't tasted success for a while, since 2017. This was then 2020. So I'd lost a little bit of passion, but I refused to quit. I refused to let that see me out of sport. And then bobsleigh just ignited that flame again for me, and I took her up on the offer. I went and gave it a go, and then we won 16 months after she messaged me on Instagram. We won Britain's first World Cup medal for 13 years together, so that was pretty special.
And you liked it that much that you lost the weight, as you've said. By losing the weight, did that affect your performance as a shot putter?
It did, but positively. So this was something that this is something that I love, because when I went to do bobsleigh and people knew then I was losing weight and people could see I was losing weight, there was a lot of people talking and doubting whether I could actually throw. They were saying, this might have a really negative impact on your throws. And to me, I just thought, okay, but if I can prove that if I lose weight and I get faster, but I remain strong, how could I possibly be worse? Because that's me having strength and speed, which is power, and shot put's a power event. So to me, logically, I could be better, but people doubted it because it hadn't been done before. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to show you now. And then I went for it. I lost all the weight. I got faster, got really, really strong, came back out, and I had a massive personal best throw in the shot put, and now subsequently going to the Commonwealth Games. I won the British Championships last week, which, I guarantee you the odds on that bet would have been huge, because nobody would have assumed that I would have won British Championships. So I've now thrown 17.59 metres. Prior to bobsleigh, my personal best was 16.34.
And as you've said, you brought us to the present there, competed in Manchester, personal best, got the gold medal.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
That was just unbelievable. I was elated. I've had such a massive emotional crash this week. I'm absolutely knackered now because I was on top of the world. It's because I knew I was in good shape. I knew that I was, going into that field, maybe not necessarily on paper ranked first, but my physical attributes I knew could get me a medal. And what medal that was, I didn't know. But I knew that I was going in there, and there was no reason why I couldn't beat the girls that I was up against. Again, mentality. When you're on the start line, there is no more training you can do, right? So the only thing that's going to help you when you're on the start line, or you're on the pitch, or you're in the circle, the only thing that's going to help you right then is your head. Because there's nothing more you can do physically. You've physically done as much as you can do in training, in the gym, on the field, on the track. You can't do anything else. The only thing you can do then on competition day is get your head in the game.
Athletics has taken you to many different places, not only across the wider European area, but also beyond that as well. However, the Commonwealth Games, it's almost back home, isn't it? Birchfield Harriers, Birmingham.
Yeah, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. I did get some qualifying standards for the Gold Coast, and I did win the trials there. People don't necessarily understand how it works with athletics sometimes. Just the way it goes with team sizes and allocations, they don't always take everyone that qualifies. They didn't take anyone for the women's shot in Gold Coast. So just because I was at home didn't mean anyone else went. They just didn't take anyone. And that's how it goes sometimes. Which is a shame because it was in Gold Coast. But we are now in 2022 and it's a home games. And for me, it really is a home games because that's the club that I grew up training at. The ground that the Commonwealth Games is going to be at is the ground and the stadium that I trained at from 14 years old. So I'm really hoping that's going to make the difference when we're out there and we're at the crowd and they announce that I'm a Birchfield Harrier. I'm really hoping the crowd will get behind me.
And we're here at Park Hall, the home of the New Saints. There's a game this evening. It's a Champions League fixture against Linfield. And TNS is getting behind you in your athletics career.
I know, I'm so grateful for TNS getting behind me, but as much as they're behind me, I'm behind them, and I'm so looking forward to this match today. I actually really enjoy watching other sports. My family are massively into football, so I'm hoping that I can persuade them to change the team that they support and get a TNS shirt on.
And how did the connection between the New Saints and yourself? Obviously there's a sport connection, but very different in terms of what it's all about. How did that happen?
Well, as a gentleman manager of the Royal Oak Hotel in Welshpool, he put me into contact with Mike. So the gentleman was Chris Birdsall. He put me into contact with Mike Harris. So I spoke to Mike Harris last year, kind of told him a little bit about myself, told him my goals. I thought, I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. I just thought, it's worth a try, because I think what people don't understand is that bobsleigh is an unfunded sport. We got the UK lottery funding taken off of us. So I wasn't involved in the sport at the time, but the lottery funding has been taken off of bobsleigh for the last 4 years. So we're completely unfunded, and that's difficult. So, I sit here with the Olympic rings on my chest and the Team GB flag, but a completely unfunded professional athlete. That, you know, it's a difficult situation, especially when it's a full-time job. It's a lot. Like the boys that are part of TNS will know it's a full-time job. Ask them if they would do what they have to do every single day for free. That's the kind of people you're working with when you're working with athletes that are unfunded. That's how bad we want it. I think sometimes you have to appreciate. You have to appreciate that, because that is raw. That is showing you that we do this because we love this, and it's such an intrinsic motivation that's what keeps us going. But then I met Mike, and Mike really liked me and just said, look, myself and Rianne. So actually Rianne, I went to primary school with her children. So that was just like a complete coincidence. Hadn't seen Rianne in years. But Rianne and Mike then decided that was it. They wanted to help me, and Mike came up with an idea of, if I am racing, so now for the next 4 years leading into the 2026 Winter Olympics, I'd like to learn how to pilot the bobsleigh. So I have been to a driving school, I really loved it, and I'll be racing this season on, I think, North America Cup or Europa Cup. But then you go to potentially World Cup, and then you go to an Olympic Games. That's kind of how the progression goes in bobsleigh. Mike proposed that what we do is we wrap the bobsleigh up in TNS colours and TNS logos, and I essentially slide for Team TNS, and that's how we've created a partnership.
Fantastic. We certainly look forward to that one. While you've been pursuing this extremely busy, dedicated and focused athletics career, you've also been studying at Cardiff Metropolitan University, which, as far as sports is concerned, is as good as they get.
Yeah, Cardiff Metropolitan, I do not regret that decision. I had a lot of offers to go out to America on scholarships to train out there and study out there, but just didn't feel right at the time. And I went to visit Cardiff, and Cardiff was the only university that I put down. I thought, if I'm going to stay in the UK, I'm going to Cardiff. When I went there, it just was so comfortable, it was so welcoming, and of course the sports, the facilities, the fact that Welsh athletics are based there, it was amazing. So I did my undergraduate degree there in sport and exercise sciences and optional module in strength and conditioning. Enjoyed that, but decided my whole life was surrounded by sport. Let me go and do something else, but use my undergrad to get me there. So my undergrad, obviously I had modules in biomechanics, physiology, psychology, but sports related. So what I did was I did my dissertation, my final year project in psychology, so that I could have enough credits then to go and do a master's degree in psychology. So then I went and did my master's degree in psychology, which was actually at Manchester Met whilst I was living in Cardiff. And now I have finished that, and I actually really, really wanted to go on to do my doctorate in potentially clinical or forensic psychology. But what happened is the time that I got involved in bobsleigh and we were travelling for 4-5 months of the year, that was the kind of time I was looking to do the doctorate. So it just didn't work at the time, but it's postponed for now, but definitely going to pick that back up. I'd love to go all the way and get a PhD or a doctorate.
And was going to university to study perhaps something that you were doing with one eye on the future, when eventually you're not competing, but perhaps you'd like to stay in sports and athletics?
Yeah, 100%. I think actually now what I've been through and the success that I've had in recent times has really kind of sparked an interest more in sports psychology. I didn't think that it would be the case back in uni. I thought that I'd want to break away from sport, but I just find it so fascinating now how important it is. And, you know, I think it's such a niche where if people could actually tap into that, if people could find the key to unlock that potential that they have in their minds, we'd see some unbelievable sportsmen and women.
Adelé, you're such an inspiring person, away from all this busyness, but busyness with a purpose that you have in your life. If there is any free time, what do you like to do to chill out and switch off?
Gosh, to chill out and switch off, I don't know, because I'm always working. Like I'm running a children's athletics summer camp in August after the Commonwealth Games as well. Honestly, I'm always working on something. I enjoy working. I'm a workaholic, but I do say that, you know, there is no point looking for the 1%ers like supplements or the best shoes or the best shorts or the best t-shirts if you're not sleeping enough. Sleep is the biggest part of recovery. So you need to be training and sleeping and prioritizing both equally. There is no point training if you've been up all night, no sleep at all. You need to be prioritizing sleep. So, you know, I do take my rest time seriously, even though I am a workaholic. I always make sure I get enough sleep still. But in my downtime, just see friends and family, go out for food. I really enjoy going out for food, or the cinema, just anything really.
Adele, I have thoroughly enjoyed our little chat this afternoon.
It's been nice.
I'm sure there'll be a part 2 on the way in due course, if we can keep up with you, that is.
Definitely. I'm really excited to watch the match tonight and see how we can grow as a team.